Welcome back to Amazing Mind. If you've just joined us, we have as our second guest, Traysiah Spring. Now, Tracy is a graduate of HMI College of Hypnotherapy. She is also a tutor in our distance education program, and she is the author of an amazing book called Surviving the Death Sentence: How My Mother Survived Pancreatic Cancer. Please help me welcome my guest. Well, Tracy, the reason I wanted to have you on today is I found this an amazing book. I did think that pancreatic cancer was a death sentence. Can you tell me a little bit about the journey?
Well, my mother was diagnosed with a 10-centimeter tumor on her pancreas.
How big is that?
So it's 10 centimeters is about that big. So it's about that size of tumor, and it was at a stage 4 stage. And the doctors told her that they couldn't help her, that that chemo or radiation or surgery wouldn't actually help to prolong her life. So they just sat her down and said, put your affairs in order. You have 3 months to live.
Wow. So what did you do?
She really was on her deathbed. She was, when we went to visit her, my 4 sisters and I went to see her at that time. She was skeletal thin, she was green, she was bedridden and writhing in pain. Pancreatic cancer is a very painful cancer. And my sisters and I are all natural energy healers. We've been trained in Reiki and that kind of thing.
Can you explain what Reiki is for those who don't know?
Reiki is, it's a form of energy healing, and you become a healing receptacle for healing energy, and then you can direct that healing energy towards the recipient. And so we thought we would help her be a little bit more comfortable in the situation she was in. So the 5 of us gathered around her in her room and all gave her healing energy together. And it was a very powerful experience because we all gave her our love and our healing energy all at the same time. And we did that for the first day for about an hour, and then she actually started to feel better even after that. And she wasn't quite as nauseous. And then we did it again the next day for about 2 hours. And then we kept doing it day after day, a little bit longer every day, and we did it for about 2 weeks. And after 2 weeks, we saw a huge difference in her. Her color was better. She could actually get up and walk around. She could keep food down. She actually was recovering, and we were just amazed at this.
And I love what you called it, the force of 5. Tracy, what was it like to be back with your mom, with all 5 of the girls there at home? What was your experience?
It was a powerful experience because we had all kind of spread out to the continent, all points of the continent. And it was the first time we'd seen each other in years. So it was a healing time for the whole family together.
What happened next?
Well, my mother told us about this natural healing center that she'd heard about in Florida. And we didn't think she was up to going down to it, but she's always been a little bit stubborn in her nature. So, and she started insisting that she wanted to go and she wasn't ready to just give up and die. So it was very expensive, and at the time, we couldn't afford to go with her. She could only really afford to have herself go for a few weeks.
But she wasn't in Florida, she was in Quebec.
She was in Canada, that's right.
You're not telling me that your mom, by herself, with stage 4 cancer, got on a plane?
We couldn't stop her. She was just
by herself.
Going to do it by herself. She was very, very brave. And so as we watched her walk away and board the plane and watched her little frail frame walk away, we all looked at each other and really wondered if we'd ever see her alive again. So, but she arrived down there, and they took her in and indoctrinated my mother into the world of raw food and wheatgrass juice, which is what the Institute uses.
Did they use any kind of mind-body connection modalities?
They did. They taught a lot of classes, and there was 2 main things that she learned in the classes that were very powerful. One of them was to take full responsibility for your health. And so by taking responsibility for all the choices that she made up to that point, then she could actually be empowered to do something about it, to change it.
Can you give us some examples? What kind of choices are you talking about?
Like everyday choices, like going to bed early or staying up late, or what you eat every day. Is it going to be some bag of chips or a bag of organic baby carrots. Little things like that accumulate and create your health.
Any kind of thought forms about what you should be thinking about or how you should change your thoughts to make choices to move into health?
Well, it's really just tuning into the healing potential of your body. Everybody has had the experience of the healing power of your body. When we've ever cut ourselves or scraped our knee or anything, and we watch the body heal itself, it's miraculous and the most natural thing in the world all at the same time. And if we can tune into that and become aware of how that functions and how to set up the right conditions for the body to heal, then it's possible to heal from anything. So even though my mother was really on her deathbed and was given only 3 months to live, she was taught how to set up the right conditions in her body to allow the healing process to take place. And then the body just took over, and it was a natural process. And she just had to support that process.
You know, I like the fact that people can take responsibility at this moment for their health. But what about all the choices that people have made up to this point that have led you, perhaps, to being in this diseased state? How do we let go and forgive ourselves for that stuff in the past? Do you know what I mean?
Yes, it's another thing that's discussed in the book is our emotional and mental state as well. And we really have to, you know, all the things that we think and feel go into manifesting the physical body as well. So we can manifest all sorts of things with negative thinking. And what we have to, what she learned was to forgive herself and to forgive others from the past. And she learned a wonderful technique to help to forgive herself.
To forgive herself and to forgive other people. Tell us about that. Can you teach us here today?
Well, there is a technique that originated in Hawaii, and it's called Ho'oponopono.
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 I like it already.
I know. And what you do is you think of the person that you have a hard time forgiving, or the situation that has been hard for you. And you hold that in your awareness. And then you say to yourself, I'm sorry, forgive me. Thank you, I love you. I'm sorry, forgive me. Thank you, I love you. And you repeat that over and over. And it somehow has this way of dissolving that in a way. And I feel like it really helps me to forgive others. And also I find that people respond, that other person will respond to me differently when I see them again. So it really has this sort of magical power.
Well, you know, if I look back in my past, there were these hideous, horrible, terrible people who did hideous, horrible, terrible things for me. Why am I saying in my mind, why am I using a mantra, I forgive you? They should be begging my forgiveness. How does that work?
Well, it's like it turns the energy around. It just, and by asking for their forgiveness, then we're acknowledging that we were a participant in the activity.
I don't want to acknowledge that. But absolutely, you're right. We were a participant in the event, whatever it was.
And once again, we're responsible for, if we take responsibility for all the things that happen in our life, then we are empowered to do something about it.
What would you say is the main message that you want everybody to take from this book?
So once again, the healing power of the body is what the book focuses on. The body has the capacity to heal from a cut, a cold, or cancer, and it does the same thing for all of those things. It just uses its powerful intelligence to heal from that. And if you can understand that, get in touch with that, and learn how to create the right conditions for healing, then you can heal from anything, even a death sentence.
You know, the main message I got from it is we do not have to be suggestible to physicians in authority who look at us in the eye and say, you have X amount of months to live. And we can block ourselves from that suggestibility. And that's our journey, regardless of the outcome. You know, Tracy, in your private practice, what are you learning that your mom learned to be able to heal your clients?
Well, I love to use visualizations that I learned through my mother. And she used a lot of visualizations to picture herself well again, and also to picture, she liked to picture Pac-Man eating her tumor. And she would just picture that all the time, and also healing energy coming in to heal her tumor. And so I use that with clients using visualization, as well as helping people to find a very safe healing place inside that they can access at any time to help their healing process.
I love it. The only thing, though, is Surviving the Death Sentence, How My Mother Survived Pancreatic Cancer. Your title is a little bit of a spoiler alert, so I knew how it ended. Can you tell me when your mom was diagnosed and how she is today?
She was diagnosed 13 years ago, and she's still alive today and alive and well, and she's walking around, and she just went for a cruise to Mexico and swam with the dolphins. Wow. And she is very much alive and doing very well. Thank you.
Everybody's going to want a copy of your book. How can they get it?
On Amazon.com.
And in addition to that, everyone's going to want to learn about healing in the body, as well as your very unique and wonderful brand of hypnotherapy. And you can reach Traysiah Spring on hmigrads.com. Well, it appears that we're out of time for today. I want to thank Traysiah Spring for joining us and sharing her experience and her mother's wonderful experience. I want to thank all of you at home for watching the show, and everybody here in the studio audience. I hope you'll join us next time when we meet more people and continue to explore the amazing mind. Please stay tuned. We have a lot more coming up for you on HMI Web TV. That's Hypnotherapy Television 24/7.
It's 10 centimeters is about that big, so it's about that size of tumor, and it was at a stage 4 stage. And the doctors told her that they couldn't help her, that that chemo or radiation or surgery wouldn't actually help to prolong her life. So they just sat her down and said, put your affairs in order, you have 3 months to live.
Wow. So what did you do?
She really was on her deathbed. She was, when we went to visit her, my 4 sisters and I went to see her at that time. She was skeletal thin, she was green, she was bedridden and writhing in pain. Pancreatic cancer is a very painful.
Traysiah Spring. Now, Tracy is a graduate of HMI College of Hypnotherapy. She is also a tutor in our distance education program, and she is the author of an amazing book called Surviving the Death Sentence, How My Mother Survived Pancreatic Cancer. Please help me welcome my guest. Welcome back to Amazing Mind. If you've just joined us, we have as our second guest, Tracy. Well, Tracy, the reason I wanted to have you on today is I found this an amazing book. I did think that pancreatic cancer was a death sentence. Can you tell me a little bit about the journey?
Well, my mother was diagnosed with a 10 centimeter tumor on her pancreas.
How big is that?
So